Okay, so we're back. So I'm gonna go in actually with my Winterberry, and I did this actually when I was off camera and I was just kind of playing with the blush, but I wanted to show you guys how simple it is to add stuff to your portrait when you're done. So I just thought that I lost too much of the blush by blending. So I went in with the Winterberry and very gently just curved her cheekbone, and that's all I did. And then I came up with an even nicer, shapelier face just by adding that one thing. So it's really interesting that you can do something so minimal, and like I find that it changes the look. Like even just shading the outer edge of the eye a little bit more and making them a little bit more sultry. And those are just an example of little changes that I do throughout my portraits by analyzing and looking and seeing what can be changed, seeing what would look nicer, like adding it a little bit more lighter here maybe, so it looks like there's a little bit more of like a light glare on her face, or up there, you know, just little things that make a difference. I don't exactly like that. I think just like that is good. A little bit of a glare. Just simple things that make all the difference in a picture. Anyway, so let's get back to the hair. We were on Fig. This was the color that I was using. Now I'm gonna add some layers. Now for doing this, I'm probably gonna turn my girl upside down here. I'm gonna bring my brush size down to about 1. And this is where it kind of gets interesting. So I just need a lighter color first. So I pick one of the lighter purples, and I'm just going to add strokes. I'm on one of the smaller brush sizes for the airbrush. I think I just said it was 1. And I'm just doing strokes. I'm going with the hair in the direction that it's drawn and adding strokes. And you can do as many layers of color as you want. I find it just adds a nice, realistic looking hair. Gives nice hair strands, texture, visual interest. Try not to overlap too much because we're going to use other colors. So I'm just trying to get, and if your lines aren't completely straight, don't worry about that either. It's the whole look of the hair that you're going for anyway. So don't worry about it, and just move your picture as you need to make those fluid tapered strokes. Like upside down right now, it's easiest going away. I find it's always easier doing my strokes away than pulling in. I don't know how I keep on hitting the eraser button from over there. So I just keep on pulling away from the hair. And then if you find it easier going in from this side, then go in from this side. Whatever's most comfortable, just make sure that you're in a position where you're very comfortable making these strokes. And they don't have to be perfect, but it's the nicer you have the strokes, the more kind of it will blend with the rest of the strokes you do with the other colors. And I'll show you what I mean. Like, see how they're kind of crinkly, like they're not perfectly straight lines? That's fine. But just try to make it look like they're all kind of going to the same place. You don't want them zigzagging everywhere. It's okay if they overlap and you don't have one consecutive stroke. Just make sure that they're all going to the same destination. So you see how I got these strands kind of flowing now? It looks more realistic. So you can do this in very many layers, like I was saying. So usually I start out with a darker one And then I might try a lighter one. So I'll try this pink. I was eyeing it there at the Goth pastel. I'll try this pink and see how this looks. And you can change up the size of your brush too as you're going. Like right now I use 1-in-1, but you can even move it up a bit if you want to look like you have thicker strands. But in this particular case, I don't know if I'm going to do that because the hair is pretty condensed to a certain figure in a certain area. It's not flowing everywhere like sometimes you do hair and it's flowing all over the place. This is pretty basic, straight, uniform, chunky cut looking hair. So I very well might just leave it at the brush size of 1. But if you want to get those different looks and chunky texture in your hair, definitely you can press harder for certain strokes, which like give you a thicker one like that one. Or you can change up the brush size. See, I'm not too worried about making them perfect. I'm just getting them in there. And by having different layers and different colors, it adds interest. See, now I pressed a little bit harder on the other hair than I did over on the other side than I did on this side. So I'm just gonna do a couple harder presses to make it look even. Yeah, so you see now it looks more like hair flowing. It's looking pretty decent. I probably maybe should have colored her clothes first. Not sure, but whatever. And you can also add like off the tone, like something that doesn't mix. Like sometimes I do rainbow hair and I'll do different strands. I've done a tutorial on hair. Some of you might have seen it. Like you could go and use like a blue if you wanted to, and maybe just add like blue tips here. You know, you could do so much, and don't be afraid to experiment, because that's how like you come up with all this cool stuff, is taking the time and trying new things and don't worry about failing or making a mistake, because you know, it happens. It's kind of how we progress as artists. So yeah, just doing like, even like you could do blue tips like that if you wanted to, but honestly, I'm just gonna keep it simple. I just wanted to give an example. I'm gonna get rid of that for now. It does look good, it doesn't look bad, but it's just not the look I'm going for right now. I just wanted to show. What I might do is do an even lighter at a smaller brush size. So I might do like a white. This is almost like a white, but it's at a 0 brush size now. This will be the last layer, I think. And I'm not gonna do it everywhere. I'm just gonna do it through certain areas. And I just kind of want to get some off-handed strands kind of coming out a little bit from the structure of the hair. Not lots, just even that's too much. Just maybe just like that. Brush size and opacity will make a difference here, so just keep that in mind. I'm just kind of using that darker purple to kind of add like the choppy feel from the hair. I'll probably have to do it again on this side because it goes into the clothing, and I'll probably end up losing some of the look. That's why I said I probably should have did the clothes first, but that's okay. It's not going to take away from the overall look of the hair, so it's fine. If you want to do size 1, I wanted that color. Now I'm just I'm using the same white color I said I was going to be using for the last layer. I'm just getting it in everywhere where I want it to be, and it will be the last layer. Okay, so there we go. There's our hair. You could also do a little bit of highlighting on it if you wanted to. You go to your laser, bring your brush size up, your opacity down, and you could do a little bit of highlighting. You'll have to play with it though to see opacity down, brush size. Usually it's better if you bring the brush size up, because then you get like more of like a shiny glare. Then I think that's a little bit too much though. Thinking maybe just a little bit there, tiny bit there, a little bit there and there, and that's all I would do. I wouldn't do any more than that unless you wanted to do smaller shine. So you can play with it. You can use your brush size up, brush size down, opacity. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever works. Okay, so that's good for that. Now I'm gonna keep her clothes really earthy. Thinking I'm gonna be using like browns and possibly green again, but like an earthy tone of green. So let me see here. I'm gonna look through my colors. I like this green. Go to my airbrush. I want it to be on the darker side. I'm not too worried about getting over here because I'm probably going to shade it in with the black anyway, so that's fine. Oops. I hit something there. Anyway. So this is why I thought probably would have been a better idea to do the hair after the clothes, because I'm going to lose a little bit of that choppy look I just drawn in, but it's not a huge deal. It's an easy fix, so I'm not too worried about it. Same over here, I'm losing it a bit, but not a big deal. I'm not going to keep the shirt lines open. I'm going to actually, I like doing this. I find it creates depth and it makes everything mix a little bit better. I'm actually going to use the black and just kind of close those lines a bit here. Don't really like the blue that I started out my background with. Now that I've gotten more into my picture, I'll probably just keep it very basic background. Maybe I'll do the thing I was thinking of. Just gonna make like a layered background, kind of sparkle, but I don't know, I'm finding with the way she's turning out, she looks good, just simple. And that's okay. Sometimes you find that out when you're coloring. So then her undershirt, I'm thinking of just doing maybe a dark brown, maybe even black. Let's try black and see how that looks. Maybe this dark gray, not quite black. I want to keep it very organic looking. So yeah, I like the darker colors for the clothes for sure. I might even deepen up this green a little bit more. I find the more you add layers of color, the more you get depth. So if you keep everything one color, then it just looks flat. But if you add a little bit of darker here, and then you add a highlight there, then you really get this look of depth. And it really adds visual intrigue, and it adds a lot to your picture. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm going back and forth with highlights and shadows. Even adding this black in here to close off this line so you don't see the line, so it looks more fluid. All these little things make differences. So if you want to fix up her hair from whatever we lost, just go to that dark plum purple and you can add some more, but we really didn't lose as much as I thought we were going to. It's actually fine. But if you want to add a couple more strands or whatever in. And you could still add to the hair if you wanted to. So if you wanted to add, let's say you wanted to add like a couple light pink strands or something, you could. I'm not gonna do that color of pink though. Like I always say I'm gonna finish and like, oh no, I'm not gonna. But you know what? If you do see something and you wanna try it, I say just go for it. I'm not a big fan of that. So I'll probably still just end up leaving the hair. Okay, so now let's do the toque. Now I had this kind of vision for the toque, like I was just gonna do it brown the whole time. So maybe we'll stick with that. Keep it kind of earthy. Maybe we'll use the Rainforest palette. Bring down this brown. And just keep it kind of earthy. She kind of reminds me of like a chic hippie a little bit, the way she's dressed. Like very pretty, but a little bit hippie looking, like with the toque and the oversized jacket and whatnot. That's the kind of vision I got anyway. Like boho kind of hippie look, which is not a bad thing. I'm just coloring in the toque with the airbrush tool on a low brush size, especially near the edges of the toque. Okay, so that looks good, but we're gonna add obviously some shading and highlighting and all that fun stuff. And I'm actually gonna just shade under the toque line a little bit here using the same brown, just so it has a little bit of a shade line. I was waiting to do that till I actually colored the toque. I might deepen it up just a little bit there to her neck. Now let's see. Could go to and use maybe one of the lighter browns here. Adding a little bit of shading to the crease of the cap with the black. Sometimes I do shade with black, but it just depends on what I'm shading. When I was suggesting earlier to shade with either like a dark gray or brown, it's usually mostly what I'm talking about is skin. Sometimes you can get away with definitely using black shading in different ways. I'm using it in the toque right now, kind of adding a little bit of texture and definition to the toque lines so it just doesn't look flat. Like what I was talking about earlier, adding different colors to things creates texture, creates depth, visual interest, than just a flat, singular color. And honestly, like that looks good. I don't really need to do anything else to it. Like just keeping it simple like that is absolutely 100% fine. I might just add a little bit more black in the corner here. Maybe a little bit shading here. A little bit of shading over maybe on this side. I was kind of waiting to do the outside face shading till I got to the toque. And got a little bit more under the nose here. You can create a realistic nose by actually coloring in the nostrils too, but it's a little bit finicky to do. And you kind of want to be careful. But just adding like a little bit deeper hole, kind of, maybe a little bit more. More shading under the nose and through here. Sometimes I do these types of things last because I can't really tell how I want it to look until the whole picture is done. I did want some shading there, but I was like unsure of how I wanted it to look until I had my picture somewhat of the way done. And the purple, deepen it up a little bit and add a little bit of shaded area to the hair with the highlight. I know we did all those strokes, but there still should be some shaded area to this hair. So that's what I'm gonna do. And these are all like the last minute things that I do when I'm coloring. I sometimes don't know where I want my shades until my picture starts getting near the finish line. So you still have those strands, but just deepening up that color in certain areas, I find, like I said, creates depth. So sometimes that's why I wait till the end to really do everything, because honestly, I can't really picture it sometimes when I'm in the middle of doing something. I just focus on getting my elements in place, and then I go back and finish. So now I got more shading there. Looks a little bit more put together. And then down here, I can also add a little bit more shading. The shirt and over here. Here I can get rid of the shirt line completely. So that's basically almost done here. I'm just kind of adding a little bit more. I like how that dark fantasy has a true black, makes it easy to come by. So here I find it a bit dark, so I'll blend this out just a bit. Now I can go and add a little bit of black here after I've already done my lighter shades. See, when you do black right off the bat, it doesn't look natural. So this is pretty much my portrait. There's always more that you can do. As you're looking, as you see, I can touch up forever and add highlight here, or I can add more highlights to the eyes. It's completely up to you how far you want to take it, but it can go on and on as long as you want it to, right? I'm gonna stay away from the background this time. I'm just gonna leave it black. I think it looks good that way. We'll do a background video another time. This time I'm just gonna leave it this way. I think that we did a lot of really cool stuff in here, and I don't want to take away from that with this video. And this video is actually running a bit long, but that's fine too. We had fun. See, a little bit more shine. Like, you could go on and on with touch-ups, and you could take forever, and it doesn't matter. There's no time limit. It's just having fun and learning new techniques, and I hope that I was able to help you guys with some of that today. Thank you for joining me. This is Breanne from Pigment. If you have any comments or anything that you would like to see in future tutorials, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me. Bye.